Hello, lovely. So a while back, Essie Ruth made a mini book called Percy as a Smith, and it was a little bit of a documentation about her cat's introduction to her family, and I thought it was just so lovely. So I decided to pretty much copy exactly her mini book. I used Paisley Press products as well. I used the exact same sizes as she did. I printed out Instax photos. I mean, she used a real Instax mini, but I made a template and I printed that out. Obviously, I asked her permission beforehand. But yeah, I mean, this is a copycat mini album. So I used a different Paisley Press digital kit to her. This is my all-time favorite. I've used this approximately 1 million times and I'm still not sick of it. And you can see here, I keep going through her YouTube video just to check exactly what she's done. And this is actually such a fun way of creating for me because it kind of got me like not having to think about anything, you know. I just checked exactly what Essie did and then I did that. So the beautiful soul put all the measurements of the papers in and all of that information, so it was really easy to print it out. Now her book is like a tag book, and she made little pockets with each of the pages, and in those pockets she put a tag or two, and she alternated between adding photos to the tags, adding just journaling. And the whole book in general was kept very minimalist and simple with very simple embellishments, and it made my heart sing, you know. So as I said, I checked with Essie beforehand. I said, listen, E, can I copy you pretty much exactly? And the lovely woman that she is, she says like, yeah, sure. So I'm gonna leave obviously a link in the description to her video below, and she'll explain more about what she's doing. If you also want to do a mini like this, check with her beforehand. I think that's just like good manners. That is polite. It's just polite to ask her. So here I'm adding punches to it. I'm going to use a ring to hold everything together, and I haven't used that for such a long time. So I'm really excited about making a mini with rings. It used to be my jam. I used to make them all the time, and then I didn't. I also printed some of the digital paper on vellum, so I thought that it would be quite cute to have a little pocket with vellum, because then you could see the tag inside. I've got craft covers, same as Essie, and I used that one as a little template hole punch because sometimes the hole punches like move around. And for my cover, I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm just going to handwrite it, and I'm not sure if I want to use the vellum one or the one printed on white cardstock. So I'm cutting them both out to see how they look against the craft. And I definitely like the white against the craft a lot more. So the other nice thing that I liked with Essie's book is the way she made it. She made it like page by page. Usually the way I make mini books is I make the entire book first and then I add it in layers throughout the whole thing. So I was kind of like trying a new way of creating because that's what this is about. And I'm checking exactly what she did again. Scrolling through a YouTube video. I'm taking out some thread that matches with this Paisley Press collection for the tags later on. Embellishments, I'm adding a little bit of washi tape that goes with it. I've printed out all my photos, going through them, seeing which ones are my favorite, and I'm going right into it. This tag gets to have a photo. And I'm going to do journaling at the back. And then I remembered that Essie used a stamp to make her lines, and I loved it. So I'm just going through all my stamps to see if there are any lines. The only one I had was this bunch of lines. I have no idea where it comes from, I'm sorry. But they're not the greatest stamping lines. I mean, they're only 2 and they are way too big for these tags, but I wanted to, I wanted to keep this book as close to Essie's as possible. And I'm whipping out my Stays On ink, and I think that is the same one as Essie. And then I'm just going to do a tiny bit of journaling on the back of this tag. I'm going to add maybe a little element to it, see how it looks. Essie is the queen of fussy cutting. I like fussy cutting, but I mean, like, if I can be lazy and not fussy cut, then I'd rather do that. So that's why you can see all those sheets are still printed and uncut. This pom-pom trim is very, very Essie, and I really struggled with getting it to stay there. The pom-poms kept getting in the way. I'm gonna see if this little vine goes nicely with the writing. And then the bonus is that it goes over that staple. I'm still fiddling with that freaking pom-pom trim. Still trying to staple it down. Not working. Pissing me off. Try to take it off, didn't work. Okay, but that's fine. Let's just put him in. Trying to figure out what I want for my very first inside page, and I'm not really enjoying anything like that. I'm checking what Essie did for hers, and then I see she just wrote on a label. Or she didn't use a label, she used like just white paper with lines on it, but I'm gonna use a label. And I can't quite get that flower to work there. So I'm just writing my journaling about how this book is all about our tiny little dog. And then I make a typo while writing. And I said that he's 3 kilograms, and he's not 3 kilograms, he's 1.6. So I just changed that 3 to an 8, and I made him 1.8, which is 200 grams fatter than what he is. I'm sorry, Griffin. But yeah, I didn't feel like doing that all over again. And then I put it down and I go on to the next one. And then I can use that pink flower. And I'm just going to move on. And it was quite nice with the making of this mini, in that I had all these like a finite number of options. So, the photo either goes on the paper, or it goes on the tag, or the writing goes on the tag. So like you kind of cycle through each of those. And if you've recently done like the photo on the tag, then the next one will be writing on the tag or no tag, like it makes things very easy. And it makes things obviously a lot easier when Essie does all the hard work coming up with this brilliant idea first. There I'm just fussy cutting some transparent florals, and I actually have floral double-sided tape, which seems very elaborate, but I use it so often. And there I'm adding a little bit of washi to the top of that photo pretend that I stuck it down with washi. And you can see I'm using the vellum double-sided tape on this vellum piece, and it's magical because you can't see the glue through the vellum. I think if I had one favorite scrapbooking element of all time, it would definitely be this circle from Paisley Press. And since this tag is going to be a little bit see-through, I'm choosing one of the better photos. And that's a photo with Griffin and my son. Taking out the tag's old string and using this, I think this is embroidery thread. That photo is from way back when we got little Griffin, and he looked like a panda bear. A panda bear? A polar bear. He looked like a polar bear. And then I remembered that Essie used tabs in her journal. So I'm using the exact same tab punch because obviously Essie and I have so many similar products. And I'm going to add it to this page because this page is looking a little bit dull. I mean, as you can see, I'm having a bit of a struggle with the glue and the double-sided tape. Apparently, I'm not as clever as double-sided tape, but I'll figure it out eventually. And then I want to reposition the photo, and I pull off a whole bunch of the paper, but it's okay because I'm going to stick it right back on top of it. This I'm journaling on the back of one of the pages on plain white. My pen bleeds into the paper a little bit. I'm using new paper. The paper that I'm using I actually bought because it said it's matte photo paper, and it's not even slightly photo paper. It's just basically cardstock. I'm using the same pattern here for the tab, and it's quite a nice continuation. Doing a little bit of feeling to see what goes where nicely. Journaling about the photo that's going to go into the pocket. And I've removed it from its backing again so that I could staple it without the staple leaving a mark on the other side. And then I'm going to add some lace trim to this page. I actually got this from Essie. And this is a photo of the whole family together. Makes me happy. Initially what I thought I would do with the cardstock that didn't have a backing, I thought that I would just stick other cardstock on top of it, but the white actually added a lot of calmness to the book and it made it a lot less busy. And there's finally some trimming that I can put in the tag without really struggling. And I'm using a different pen for this because this pen doesn't bleed. I'm journaling more about my absolute love for this tiny little dog. That goes into the pocket. And then I'm just going through to see what options I have, which papers I can use. When I do mini books in this format, I always tend to print way more than I need to, and then I've got a whole bunch of paper that I can just add to my stash. Checking if that flower goes anywhere nicely, and I like it there, so I'm going to staple it before I stick down the label. And I addressed this mini book to the dog, which is a little bit ridiculous, but it felt like better than if I had have done it another way. And this one's a little combo breaker because it says especially me, and it's about how Griffin is my favorite and I'm definitely Griffin's favorite. And I really like this picture of Griffin running through the forest because it's so typical him, so that one goes at the end in a very special place. A little bit of journaling, and then I'm just going to go through everything to see if I'm happy. I'm going to add everything to the binder rings. And I actually did a really good job of punching. I don't usually, but the punches now, they're all fitting perfectly. And I'm going to close it. I'm cutting off the extra tag bits, thinking if I want to put anything at the back, and I didn't, so now I'm going to just add some extra tabs. Maybe gonna add a flower or two. Not the transparent one, this one. I'm taking off the tag again so that I can staple it. And one more place. Oh, then I remember that I've got this lovely transparent one, so I just found a place for it and I've added it in. And I wanted to see if I could use the pom-pom trim, but I didn't really like it, so I'm using this lace one again. The last pair of tabs. And they aren't going on any special pages or anything, they're just going there for visual interest. And that one gets to be stapled down, just because. And I think I'm done. Let me page through it for you. Thank you for watching. I hope this encourages you to go and copy someone else's thing. I mean, you definitely need to ask them first. You can't just copy, you know, like if someone saw something that looked exactly like theirs, they wouldn't feel very good. So go ask an artist that you admire if you can copy something that they've made. Definitely show that person what you've made. Maybe make a little mini about your pet. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you create today.